Hello, everybody. It's Dean's medical meeting for December, and welcome. We are going to be talking today with Jenine Stallard, who's really up on the tree healing properties of the resin that both she and her partner are involved with making this. Well, I'll just have her tell you what she makes with it. But in any case, I've been exploring this topic for many years. And I have these little tinctures that Jenine is going to tell us about. But I'd like her to give us a little introduction on what she offers and about her background. So, Jenine, welcome. Nice to see you again.
Welcome. Thank you, Dean. Well, you and I have worked together. We've known each other for like what, 20 years or
At
so.
least.
At least. Yeah, I
Feels like
mean,
a
like,
lifetime.
yeah, I've grown up in the lab. So my background, I'm a clinical nutritionist and I've worked in clinical research through Saber Sciences, where we do HPA, hormone and adrenal balancing. We run the lab studies and then we create custom products to treat the imbalances. So I'm constantly looking at lining up patient history and symptomology with what the labs are showing, and then looking at follow-up tests, repeat tests after they've started treatment to see what's been effective and what natural herb, compound, amino acid, whatnot, what's going to move the targets. So I'm looking at this movement all the time. And with the tree resin, the way I like to sum that up is it is literally the rarest healing agent you can use on earth. It is the rarest. You cannot go and call a supply company to buy this in bulk as a manufacturer. This is 5 generations family run operation of just hands-on experience. Grandpa, great grandpa was a logger, grandpa's a log, generations of loggers that know that what's called pine pitch uh, is pretty medicinal. The Indians used it, different cultures like frankincense and myrrh are resins. There's a
Hmm.
deep history of resin use. But the resin that we have at Pruitt's Tree Resin is unique because it's only found in ancient trees. And what we have found through logging and our work is that only some of these ancient trees will form pockets. And we lovingly refer to it as a heart pocket because it's in the dead center of the tree, and it's encapsulated and you get this beautiful rich golden fluid. It's like honey coming out of the tree. And our studies and our use of it has found that the concentration is at least 10 times higher than the other forms of resin. Like if you scar the tree, it's much higher and it has a much broader spectrum of application in the clinical world. And so my job, my science background, when I got a hold of this, I thought, oh, I'm gonna just nerd all out and there's so much studies to be done.
Hmm.
So I'm hoping today to kind of follow up on the interview you did with Matthew a couple years ago and just bring more of that analytical science to it and what I've seen. And yeah, we'll all just share and kick it around.
Excellent, excellent. So, some of the things that I've noticed in my use of the tree resin is it's great for the skin when you're using it in proper ratio. And I'd like you to talk about that too. I remember when, as a PAV, was a name given to it early on, PAV cream, I think it was.
Now,
And
you know what that's an acronym. You know what that stands for?
please.
That's an old logger term, pitch and Vaseline. These
Uh-huh.
loggers, that's a deadly job. They get injured, deep bleed out wounds. They'd
Oh my
cut a tree,
gosh.
get the pitch, throw it into some Vaseline, and you can literally, by the end of the day, you will seal the wound. It's like a bleed stop.
Mm. And
So
that was like, gosh, going back 35 or more years, I'm trying to think.
mhm.
You know, that
Yeah, that was grandpa's term, and we've kept a lot of the names the same just because it's a generational thing. but we don't use Vaseline anymore. We've cleaned it up. And but Pav, a lot of the old timers know, oh yeah, you got to get some Pav. We go out to the woods. But this is a much more specialized form.
Okay, that makes sense. Okay, so what I like to often, associate the tree's immune system with this pocket, right? I mean, it obviously has been protected against the environment for 100 or more years or something. And meaning when I say protected, I mean that it's been encapsulated, it's isolated, it's not exposed to radiation, for example, that's coming down from the Fukushima tragedy and disaster, or
Right.
the chemtrails that are releasing, aluminum nanoparticles, or anything that the environment is putting out. So this is it's kind of this ancient healing resin that isn't contaminated in any way. Is
That's
that
the way
correct?
I look at it. Yeah, because it is only the old trees that produce in the heart takes so long. The youngest that they've ever found one, and it was just a very small amount of resin, was 300 years.
Oh,
They
really?
have found,
That's the
yeah,
youngest.
the youngest. The oldest, I think they had one that was like between 6 and 7,000. You try getting an expert out there to count rings and test. Um,
No.
so that's difficult, but they estimate, yeah, it was 6 to 7,000. So yes, it is, I would say the time it takes to develop, it is protected. And much of the resin is an underground evolution because it's through
Mhm.
the water. Resin as a chemical substance is interesting because it is both water and oil. It's not
Mm.
until it's exposed to the air that it picks a side and it's technically, then it becomes an oil. But in the tree, and I've seen this firsthand a couple of times, when you actually get it from the tree, these heart pockets,
Hmm.
it's a water and an oil. It's both.
That's
Mm.
that's remarkable because
Remarkable.
oil and water never the twain shall meet is kind of the echo in,
Yeah.
that goes through. But nature, when it comes to the organism of the tree has the unique ability to combine the two. And when it
Yeah.
does, it gives it a unique property, right? The smell, like cedar smell, or
Yeah.
pinon, like in my area, all
Yeah.
those that if I don't know about you, but for me, it's one of the most euphoric smells when in the summertime it rains and the pinon releases that aroma from the tree, and I'm out there and I'm,
Yeah.
sniffing. It's amazing.
Well, it's doing something. It's sending messages to your brain. These terpenes that they're mostly responsible for the aroma, right? And you
Hmm.
go, and this is my job, you go and you research these things. They all have amazing anti-inflammatory, anti-cancer, HPA regulating effects. So I can only imagine, like the ancients knew this, a walk through the forest. It's not just because you're grounding, but the breath. And we know that our very breath, the rhythm of it will change brain chemistry. And the aroma that we breathe will change the rhythm and on, right? So it's a domino effect of actions happening as a result of these terpenes you're taking in. It's just a beautiful symbiosis.
Now, the forest bathing is a term that's
Mm.
used in Japan. Do you have any experience using your resins or your work with this or something in that regard?
Not firsthand. That's actually a really, somebody else did mention that to me. Uh, who was down in Costa Rica. I don't know if she ended up doing it, but not
Mhm.
firsthand. I would love if anybody watching this wants to try and let's work together. That'd be really cool.
Oh yeah, well, it's an art form. It's funny because there's a in Japan there's it's a kind of ritual in a way where they take the samples of the resin or flowers or some aroma, and they sit in a circle, and then they'll pass around the aroma, and they'll take it in, and they'll smell
Mm,
it like this, and they'll sit with it. Okay. And then
mm,
they pass it to the next person, and then they get the other aroma. And so there's the scents are heightened because it, as you mentioned, awakens. It activates the body's ability to connect with nature, right?
yeah,
And its
right.
unique frequencies therein. So these properties that each tree has, if we were to think of it in that way, also come from the aroma. So
Mm.
when these heart pockets are accessed, does it release a different smell, or a smell that is uh, what you would typically get from, say, okay, a cedar tree? You know, everyone who had a hamster knows what cedar smells like, right? You know, that's the cedar
Yeah.
shavings right at the bottom of the cage.
Kind of
But
smells good, yeah.
or they have one of those, types of hot boxes, we'd call them, the European name for it, and they're made of
Oh,
cedar.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, sauna.
so it
Yeah.
releases the oils, which give it that wonderful smell, which is antifungal, as you obviously would equate.
And
You put up the
yeah.
antifungal, anti infection. It's really quite amazing. So go over with us the properties of these the terpenes and how it relates to health. And I know it's a big topic, but you've got experience, so I know you can handle that question. So please dive into
Talk
it.
about loaded questions. We'll be here a while.
I know.
So, so we gather from the conifer family of trees, which will include pine, but there's other forms in there. We don't disclose. We used to disclose, but then we had issues with people going out and, trade secrets and telling our stuff. So, anyway, we gather from different forms. Right now, I think we have 12 different tree forms, the conifer family that we have resins from.
Hmm.
And yeah, on a macro level, they're primarily known as antifungal and an antimicrobial and a drawing agent, just a universal drawing agent because of the plant sulfurs. Um,
Hmm.
so in clinical world, that's the biggest application is, nail fungus, eczema, psoriasis, any skin irritation, literally any skin condition, acne. It's just wonderful at healing. Like I mentioned, the wounds, deep wounds, the resin is like a glue that will help new skin tissue to grow. Like we have a ton of pictures on our social media. You can see day one, day two, how the wounds just close and heal up and it does not scar. And even old wounds, people say, I applied it here because I got hurt and my old scar is going away.
Mm.
It's wonderful on the skin. But then on a deeper level, um, let's see, where should I jump in? Hormones. Recently, post COVID, Dean, you and I have talked about there's an issue with a lot of women going through early menopause or having early menopausal symptoms.
Hmm.
It's kind of strange to know where what's happening. Their immune system has been so taxed that it then affects circadian cortisol production, which has a time frame where it can handle that, and without proper intervention, then that affects reproduction, right? So it's like a cascade domino effect. And what I found is not all women, and I'm one of them, can tolerate therapeutic levels of standard HRT. These, like when you go in and use progesterone, phytoestrogen, testosterones, yes, they can be very helpful, and even bioidentical and plant derived
Hmm.
can still be somewhat hard on the liver to metabolize their fat soluble large molecules. And depending on your genetics, a
Hmm.
lot of women want some plant-based alternatives. So I started experimenting with Chinese medicine and different things. And the resin, Matthew always told me, well, the resin has hormone. And I'm like, well, what does that mean? What hormone? And we've come to the conclusion that anything in the needle, the pollen, or the bark that's been documented and studied will also be in the resin and probably to a higher concentration. The resin is the blood, just like you know, our body is like similar to a plant. We have blood circulating, but then what you would test in our urine and sweat and hair, will be present somewhere in our blood, right? Similar concept with the tree. So I started doing research on pines because they're widely known. There's some brand names out there we all know, like pycnogenol has been
Mhm.
around 100 years. It's taken from the bark and these different known properties. And as I did some research, and I can share some of this,
Mhm.
I found that there is some data there on what the resins contain. It's mostly plant sterols, your sterol family, and your precursor enzymes, coenzymes.
Mhm.
What I found is that pine specifically contains these coenzymes that start right at the top of the chain and help your body convert cholesterol to pregnenolone,
Got it.
which is huge,
That is huge.
right?
That conversion is I mean, we do things like endo-3 carbinol and DIM, and we try to assist the conversion with estradiol. But you're saying that this is enhanced with your application, right? Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah. Well, and people for many years, they'll take a few drops of the liquid resin, our super cocoa resin, that's the liquid form. They'll take
Mhm.
a few drops in the mouth and, hey, I didn't get so sick this winter. My energy is up. We get all this report. So we know just by observation and the old timers, right? They knew this stuff. They didn't know how it did it. They just know it worked.
Mhm.
We know it has this effect. I wanted to find out, well, how and why? What is it doing? There's the more I research, there's things in there that really are deeply nourishing to the adrenals. And there's precursor steroid hormone in there that assists basically your ability to convert estrogen and testosterone.
Okay.
But there's also the plant sterols, which are protective. So, like people get concerned with side effects, DHT or estrone, you don't want to go to the bad forms. It's beautiful the way nature works. When you have whole food, you have the benefit, the helper, but then you also have the protective, all built into one. Like the arsenic in the apple core, right? You eat the whole apple, now you've got all the pieces, your body can metabolize it properly, there's no risk.
So if I
Um,
could just branch off on that for a moment with in regards to other animals, they can't access the heart pocket. I mean, you don't think of bugs that are breaking through the tree bark or, deer that are licking resin off of off the bark or there's this we have a tree out here. It's called it's a lodgepole pine. And when you smell, I love going walking through that part of the forest here, and it has this vanilla smell to it.
oh, yeah.
It's got that just that hint of it in there, and so I'm sticking my nose, inside the bark to get a good smell of it. But I'm mentioning that because I don't think of it this way. If the immune system has if you're an animal and you need something, right, from a natural source, like cats, they'll go outside and they'll chew on grass or something, and then they'll vomit. They'll kind of, that's their purging. That's a way of purging. Is there any, and I don't know this answer, I just am throwing it out there, but is there any connection to animals using resin for their recovery if they're sick? Do you know of any?
Matthew, my husband, because it's his family, he would know. I know that animals gravitate toward it. Like I've seen horses. We've worked with horses and even our like family dog and the chickens, when
Mhm.
they're sick and you kind of put it out in front, they want it. They lick it.
They
Like
will lick it. It's like the
I think,
diatomaceous earth. I mean, if they have
yeah,
parasites, they'll go
yes,
towards,
parasite.
yeah, they'll go towards it. So I was just curious, when Matthew comes on in the next part of this interview, I'd like him to be, address that question if he has any.
Yeah, I'll ask him. I'm sure because remember, there's different types of resin. produced in the different layers of the tree, because this is in the heart pocket, to have a heart pocket, that tree has to be old. These are pretty large trees. These aren't
Hmm.
rink-a-dink trees. These are big guys.
Hmm.
So the animal wouldn't be able to get up to, and we don't, this is another kind of thing I'll just share, is these heart pockets can be scattered throughout this 100, 200, 300-foot tree. It's not like it's on a lower, you have to have educated experience to know. And so what the animals are getting are probably like what we call scar resin or sap resin.
Okay.
And yeah, they do gravitate toward that. I've seen deer, I've seen animal lick that.
Hmm. So,
It's
okay.
highly anti-parasitic. I mean, we have patients all the time use it for worms, parasites, you name it. It's great. I use it when we do our black walnut detox. I use it right alongside it.
Got it. Okay. So I think now is a good time to bring in your images. What do you think?
Yeah, sure.
Excellent. Okay. Now I did say multiple. Do you send me the request for the image? Let's see.
Um, how do you, or I can share my screen.
Just share screen. Let's do that.
That might be easier.
Okay.
This sharing screen is always scary to me. I don't know if I'm gonna do it right. Okay, can you see what I see? Can
Can
you
you
see?
see what I see?
I'm
Okay, let's see. Application windows. Is that you right there?
looking at here resin, acids, and terpenes, flavonoids, lignans.
Let's try it again. Okay. Can you, I guess I can see it. So let's go with it. Yeah,
Okay,
you
so
got it.
I wanted something fast. This is just what I sent you. Anybody could do this. I threw it into Chat GPT. Don't hate me for that. I have it
No,
lovely.
no, no, no problem. We all
I'm
use it.
not advocating them. No. But I just wanted to see, okay, what's mainstream and out there? And let me just start here at the top.
Okay.
Okay, I need to know what human hormone precursors are found in pine. I
Okay, no.
started this.
Okay. And then did you
You see
send it?
this?
Did you share it? I don't know if we did that or not. Did you share
In
it?
the chat, I could share it.
Yeah, share it, would you please?
Let's see if it'll work.
That's what I got.
Here you go. Okay, let's see if that will work. That's my link just
Okay,
on something.
let's pull it
Good
up.
job.
All right. I see it in the chat. So do I click on the link? Is that what I do?
Yeah, but it's going to show you, I'm sharing that same image. So you can just follow along with me if you want.
Okay.
And you can save that and then we can add to it and we can all share what we
Okay.
nerd out on. But I started here just as a foundation. And
Okay.
so, yes, like I thought, there are plant sterols, beta cytosterol. There are the existence of these plant sterols in the resin.
Okay.
You basically, what I did was, okay, let's look at these. What are found and what's their metabolic action? That's my interest here. What did they do metabolically? Well, we all know beta cytosterol. That's a big one used to protect the body from converting testosterone to DHT. So you can
Hmm.
have your cake and eat it. And
Interesting.
this was interesting to me because Matthew shared with me, and I recently had a client who was concerned about balding. He was losing his hair. And even in women going through menopause, why is my hair falling out? Before you wash your hair, putting the resin onto the scalp or when you go to sleep, rub that into the scalp. And then you can leave it, or the next day you wash your hair. It's helping to reduce the presence of DHT at the site. And people tell us, my hair is fuller. The shedding stopped. We have one guy in LA I was just recently working with, and he couldn't believe it. He did it for about a month, and he's like, my hair is growing back.
Hmm.
So is it because of the beta cytosterol or other things? It's also anti-inflammatory and detoxifying. Who knows, right? There's
So
a lot of
when you put
tools.
it in your hair, I'm getting this image of it being really sticky.
Well, if you use the super cocoa resin, that's the one that's more smooth, or
Hmm.
even the angel resin, it's a lower dilution. But no, it dries pretty, it's actually very nice. It's
Okay.
not really,
So when you
yeah.
when you get it, okay. So do you recommend? I know this is more of a practical issue, but When do you recommend that when you do this before you said you go to bed?
I
Is
would
it?
do it at bedtime so it
Yeah,
can sit all night.
I see. And so you might want to put a towel down or something on your pillow. So,
Yeah, depending on most of us, like the hair loss is going to happen in the front, the
hmm
thinning at least. So, if you've got it around the what do we call this? The
the
edge
forehead,
of the hairline. Yeah, the
yeah, the
hairline.
hairline.
Yeah. And you just kind of work it in like that. You just get it all
Okay,
how you would do shampoo. And men and women.
really? Okay,
Yeah.
well, then it's not selective in terms of whose hair, what kind of hair follicle it touches on, right?
It's definitely worth a try. I mean, there's pharmaceuticals out there. There's things that people are taking that are real hard on the liver to try to block what's that receptor? It's the 5-DA
I,
to
I know what you mean too.
yeah,
I can't remember,
try
but
to block the androgen conversion.
conversion, right? So, but there is, I would suggest then when I was using it on my skin, a kind of regenerative function. I used it on my feet. I'm an avid swimmer, and I constantly am, you know, just taking off the dead skin, with the skin removing,
Oh, those, yeah,
sander. Yeah, the
yeah,
sander
the
thing.
pumice stone or something.
Yeah, exactly. And so what I noticed was obviously when you're adding oil to something, you think of, keeping the skin smooth, right? Well,
Hmm.
I see so often that women are overusing lotion and they say, "Oh, I got dry skin," and it's, because I've got dry skin, I'm dependent, and we're in a dry environment, and that being one of the factors involved. But what I've noticed is that women are using. We have to be careful about just any kind of topical um, moisturizer, if we will, because we're talking about some of the chemicals that are in there, methyl and propylparabens, for example,
Right, yeah.
and they add the additives. Obviously, staying away from those is absolutely important if you're concerned about skin health, and your body has to process it through, as you mentioned, the liver, right?
If it's on your body, it's in your body.
It's in your body. So,
Yeah.
in my experience with using I use the cocoa resin, and I put
Mhm.
it on my nails, and the toenails, and I put it in between my toes. And there's not that and experimenting with moisturizers. You ladies have more experience with it than us guys usually, but in any case, that's I found if you could talk to the moisturizing side of things.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
That is I love oils. I don't know if you can tell my skin is like oily because so I don't get wrinkles.
You,
I lather it up. So let's see. Yeah, let's start at the cosmetic and I'll get deeper into the personal where we talked about the hormone symptoms, right?
sure.
Um, so yeah, the resin is beautifully hydrating. Some of the studies on resins, which is going to be more of that scar or sap resin, not as concentrated as this, show that in manufacturing, there's efficacy at a 10% concentration to the whole. So
hmm
you really don't whole lot when you're making a mix. So I personally will take the super cocoa resin, a few drops in my hand, and I'll mix it with either castor oil if I want something thicker
hmm
or coconut oil if I want something smoother for the body. And that is all you need. You will be so hydrated, especially winter time, irritated skin, or people that get what's called like a type of Raynaud's. If you have immune reaction to temperature fluctuation
hmm
and you get irritations in the joints or on the body because of that temperature flux, I find that the resin, because of these terpenes and different things in here, it's so immune regulating and anti-inflammatory that it reduces Raynaud's. We worked with a teenage girl, we've worked with families, and me personally, I have that issue. If I don't eat the right thing, my immune system flares up. It is so unbelievably amazing for that. Like literally one or two applications and it's
So,
gone.
so if
Your
I'm
body.
understanding, you're saying, and Renaud's, for those that don't know, it's the fingertips, the fingers get cold and the hands get cold by quick, changes in temperature and
Hot or cold.
hot or cold, yes, and that they will get circulate. They have circulation issues. That's bottom line.
Yeah.
You're saying that
Yeah.
you add a drop of the cocoa resin to the castor
However
oil.
much, for that I would do coconut oil because castor oil is kind of thick. I mean, they could. It's up to how what they like the
Okay.
feeling of. Really. But for the body, coconut oil just spreads better. You could also use an olive oil, or some people like to use grapeseed oil. I think it is,
So
they
that's
told
the
me.
medium. You're saying it's
As a meat,
thinner.
as like a carrier.
I
Yeah, so
see.
it'll spread more.
So you
Um,
add one drop of the cocoa resin or two drops,
mm,
or what is it like?
no, I would do like half a dropper, maybe.
Oh, okay, more,
Yeah,
more.
you want to have a decent amount.
I see.
And because if you're going to be doing the whole body, just really get it up your arms, down your legs. Because I find with Raynaud sometimes too, it can be the joints. It's like elbows, knees, the knuckles, they're getting
Hmm.
flare up.
Sure,
So you
sure.
just
Okay.
get it all over there. It's like your protective shield, and you can go about your day, you're outside, inside, between all these different temperature flux, and you're not going to be reactive.
Uh-huh. I gotcha. That's a pretty cool application. I didn't consider that, but if you're
Yes.
getting your skin to breathe, you also have to have the opposite to that, which
Hmm.
is your skin exfoliation. Now, can you speak to that? I do a brush, for example, most every morning, and I use it's by Yerba Prima, and it's like a horse brush, and I mean it's harsh, and
Oh,
I'm going like
wow.
this, and I love it. It's especially
Yeah.
when I'm doing niacin, because if I'm
Oh,
doing niacin and I'm vasodilating and I'm brushing where all the red spots need to be, and
Dean, you're hardcore.
I know, but I enjoy it. I'm like, oh, it's itchy here. Oh, it's itchy here. It's itchy in my back, and then I would see it being used afterwards, but I don't want to get the oil on my clothes. So would
I,
this be okay? Go ahead, you
I
please.
would do it before. Okay, so here's how I do it this is the Euro way is I don't put my towels in the dryer. I don't want them soft. I line dry them so you got an edge, so they're rough. So
Okay.
I'll shower and I'll brush and dry with the towel. So it's
Oh,
rough. That's about as much as my skin is thin. Everyone's got a different type, right? I
okay.
tend to bruise easy, have thin blood. So for me, that's enough. If you like it, you need more, then you do what works for you. But so I'll use a towel. I'll shower. My pores are open, right? You've had the hot water. Finish with cold is always good. And then brush. Then I go, so I've got the dead off. I've cleaned house. Then I go on and
I
apply the
see.
oil.
I see. Okay, so it's a degree of how much exfoliation you're really looking for, and if you're from California girl. I mean, you got the hot weather. I mean, I'm from northern climes, and I'm in 9,000 feet up here in the mountains. So yeah, I got thick skin. I won't deny
Yeah,
it.
right. You've been well, and here's something you talk about. We need to clean off the cells, right?
That's right.
We're
That's right.
needing to detox and the function of apoptosis, right? Of cell death that's necessary. This sterol here, the campus sterol, if
Mm-hmm.
you highlighting it,
Mm-hmm.
I think I have. Oh, if it'll let me, I have a tab open that talks about that's one of the main sterols that helps that process, which you need for detox, basically. Here, yeah, camp sterol,
Okay, can you
metabolic
share your
function.
screen? Request to share so I can put you on here.
So it says you are sharing screen. You're not
I
seeing me?
I see you, but I just need to see your image, I guess is all.
Oh, you're not seeing do you see my face? You don't see my screen?
Correct.
Oh,
At the
okay.
top of the thing, there's something that says her screen. If you go to the very top of your thing, it'll say her
You,
screen. And if you push on that, that'll show you her screen.
okay. It says speaker, gallery, multi-speaker.
Layer.
Is that mine? Thank you for jumping in there, Lori. I needed a little educating.
Here, let me send it.
It's my left-hand side or the right
It's
hand?
on the very top and it says Jeannie's screen.
Okay. It says request, let's see, report allowed, stop video, put in waiting room, report. Okay. I click on her picture, but I don't have anything that says share screen on here for me. So I guess we'll have to,
You want to view my screen
I do, but
and
make host. How about I make you host?
okay,
Does that work?
sure. And
Okay.
then,
And then to change it back over to me.
okay, let's see.
And then you just put it on your screen. Because I couldn't find it, Lori. I looked.
Okay.
See.
I don't know
Yeah,
where
I'm
it is.
just looking. It's on the very, very top of my thing.
I see your question, Lori. It could help with graying because graying, to my knowledge, is primarily associated with the liver.
Mm-hmm.
And copper.
And right, copper demineralization. And the resin helps detox the liver. It helps liver function, and it can help absorption of your other minerals because we'll get into, these other things in here. They're all coenzymes.
Mm.
You need the whole.
So I made you host. Can you share
Okay.
your screen?
Okay, so let me stop share. Okay, here I am, and I'm going to go back. I'm going to share again. Okay, so
All right.
desktop, content, and share. Okay, it
Okay.
says you are sharing.
Got it. Okay.
Okay, can you see?
I can.
I'm on Google here. Metabolic function of camposterol.
Okay. Gotcha.
This is something that I started this morning. I was trying to do some research, but here, this function on apoptosis. I can never say that word.
Apoptosis. Yeah. Hmm.
Apoptosis, thank you. I can say all the other ones, but not that one. Yes, and when you talked about dry brushing, that just made me think of, okay, that's the external sloughing of dead cells, right? But
Mhm.
first, our body had the cell death has to happen. And I think that's part of this is one of the elements that is why the resin is such a powerful antimicrobial.
Mm.
It's used as a kill agent. It helps your immune system identify and eradicate. Not that I always like to use those terms, but that's what's happening. Um,
So are you saying that now you've got a variety of different products for this particular application? What do you recommend?
I would say internal if you're
In,
fighting an infection.
okay.
Yeah,
You
because
don't.
people use it external, internal.
All right. What would be an
This is
example of an internal
so
dose and how it would work that way?
so we have two of our blended liquid formulas.
Hmm.
There's super cocoa resin, which is the higher concentration of resin to the oil. It's just enough oil in there to make it smooth and not glue.
Hmm.
Resin is very sticky naturally. So super cocoa resin is the higher concentration. If you are actively sick, fighting infection, chronically ill, you're gonna want that one. We developed for children and for more maintenance use, there's another formula called angel resin, which is a lower dilution, and it has a high polyphenol olive oil. We use the highest polyphenol olive oil of the season that we can get our hands on. Some other
Is it a
studies
lower or higher
show
dilution?
it's a lower dilution. I'm sorry, a higher
A
dilution.
higher dilution because it's
My
more.
brain was converted. It's
Okay,
got
got it, got it.
less resin.
Yeah, yeah.
It's
So
about
it's
50 or so. It's got less resin.
less resin.
So you're getting more of the oil. We thought, let's give it the best oil we can use, the high polyphenol olive oil, which is interesting. There are studies that show the phenolic acids, these polyphenols, um, there's a relationship with the plant sulfurs found in the resin, and that together they amplify one another. You've
Hmm.
got a powerhouse of antioxidant activity with that combo. So that is also a beautiful product to take internal. That's the angel resin. It's not as strong, So if you're more sensitive or you just want something for everyday maintenance, that deep adrenal nourishment, that's the
Mhm.
one I go to. And
Question. So are we talking about when you're internally ingesting this, is it by body weight? And do you take one dropper for 165 pounds, or how does that work with the cocoa resin?
so with the cocoa resin, I usually have people titrate. You go between 1 and 3 drops. It's drops,
Drops, not droppers, drops.
drops.
Uh,
Yes. Because even big guys, if you've got poor liver metabolism detox, you can be reactive.
uh-huh.
It is a detox agent. So it's you follow your body. You have taken too much if you have diarrhea or any classic Herxheimer
Hmm.
Mhm.
detox symptom. You want to just get that, like, no news is good news. I'm taking it, don't feel anything. And then over time, you gradually are like, hey, I'm waking up
Mm.
faster.
Yeah,
I,
your bowel tolerance uh, as you titrate up
yeah.
and you go from 1 to 3 drops, is that usually like a week or 1 day or 2 days, or how do you titrate up?
Usually, in a day or two.
Okay,
Yeah. You,
yeah,
yeah, you don't have to go too slow. It's quick. And
okay.
also I notice, like, with an essential oil, if you ever go down the aisle where they have the oils at the store, the one that you're drawn to, it just smells real good and you want more. So if you enjoy the taste or whatever, you may be able to take a little bit more. Your body may really be craving something in there.
I see.
Follow
Okay,
that.
so what would be I guess you work your way up to 3 drops, then you get to
Yeah.
4. You can titrate based on your symptoms. If you want to go to
Yeah.
bowel tolerance,
I
you go,
mean, we work with different practitioners. We have a few doctors telling people, like, for parasite cleanse, take like 10, 15 drops, and
right.
people were seeing worms in the toilet and people were detoxing. So it worked. I wouldn't do that long term. I just don't know. Metabolically, even a good thing can become a burden. You don't want to stress the liver. So I always say less is best. Um, I would only do a higher dose for like 1 or 2 weeks and then drop it back down.
Now uh there had been it was kind of a buzz about 15 years ago. People were taking turpentine for parasites,
Oh
Mhm.
yeah, right.
and
Similar thing, because the terpenes
this
here,
is a safer and more effective way, in your opinion. Is that
yes, a
correct?
much more whole food approach, so to speak, because now you're getting all the other plant sulfurs and coenzymes and terpenes all in this balanced family where it's not going to be as harsh and stripping like the turpentine.
If I could draw a parallel, Janine, to this, it's you have the 23 carbohydrates in aloe, and that's how nature made it, right? You have
Right.
the, and that you have, for example, Manitech came out with a product back in the 90s, ambertose. And what they
Mm.
did is they isolated one of those carbohydrates. And you have what are polysaccharides, right?
Right,
In
right.
case of polymucosaccharides, or what you're considering inside the polysaccharides in the aloe plant. And they isolated one of them, right? And then they made a big, that was their big push. And it was it was an MLM company. But when I was talking with Dr. Royce, he's a friend of mine, and he originated the formula of magnesium oxide. Okay, that's Mag 07 back in
Oh
those
yeah.
days. Yeah,
Mhm.
the magnesium, and so he was the formulator for that. And we were talking one day, and we said, it's really kind of you reducing the property of the aloe by isolating it in this way. In other words, we were of the, if nature put it there, there's a purpose for it being like that,
Yeah.
and I'm just drawing a parallel because we saw that those carbohydrates were more effective than just the isolate itself.
Right. And Dean, I've had to come, it's taken me time to cross the street here and come to that camp. Because, my background with Sabre in manufacturing and formulating, we're taking isolates and combining and making products all the time. And I'm thinking, well, sometimes to get a therapeutic level of, I want that one polysaccharide, I want that one thing, I don't want all the rest. And to reach this therapeutic level, the person could get sick with all the rest is coming in. Maybe they don't tolerate. But I really am finding that what we think of as therapeutic level up here for this isolated thing, you really don't need that therapy. You need way less when you have the whole.
That
It's,
there that's part of the whole thing about trace minerals,
yeah,
right?
right.
In Shilajit, we, as you know, and I know, we have all these minerals in there, 81 to 84. I like to see this as being the super salt of the
Yes.
world because it's got the fulvic acid, humic acids in it. And those that have heard the interviews that I've given to Sam Junke, he's this amazing harvester of shilajit in our area in Colorado, not in the Himalayan mountains now.
Oh,
Yeah, and he has been exploring all these different applications. But this is something that's been used for 4,000 plus years.
right. Oh, and his stuff is
Top,
non-comparison to anything
it's
else.
top shelf. It's the
Top,
best there
top
is.
shelf. And his
I,
combinations with things, I mean, that's a whole other thing. But yes, his
but
Shilajit.
but but your point about it having the terpenes and all the sulfurs and so forth, it has all the ingredients, which means that the body is recognizing this natural substance, whereas and this is another thing Dr. Royce and I were talking about, is it creates the environment where it pushes out the the harmful bacterias, let's say, or the candida, or if there's a parasite involvement. In other words, it's the environment is laid with this foundation. Is that what your experience has been with using it this way?
Absolutely. Well, and think of a plant, the more it's attacked, the stronger it gets. And the resin being the blood of the tree, it's going to have a defense against what was hurting
Right.
that tree. Pine's biggest enemies are fungus and insect, primarily beetles. So
Mhm.
it's phenomenal at being antifungal because it kept that tree alive for thousands of years with all kinds of who knows what fungus, different species. And
Mhm.
it's antimicrobial, antibacterial. It's got all these properties because it's kept the tree alive from infection, from teeny little invaders wanting to eat it up.
Mhm. Yeah.
And
Those
so,
little
so that's
buggers.
interesting. Yeah, yeah, the little buggers. So, and
Well,
now I wanted to mention the Shilajit because,
yeah.
I have played, and I think you have too. I've made different mixtures combining a little bit of Shilajit with resin, with CBD, with different things to see what it would do. And we haven't made products yet to sell, but we've had amazing results with that kind of stuff. And it reminds me of like the ancients, what they did, like Chinese medicine. They knew that certain combinations that would amplify one another, like we found with the polyphenols, the olive oil, and the resin and the plant sulfurs, what that does. So we're
Mhm.
creating chemical reactions by mixing foods. Like I think back in the day, how did someone get the idea to make a fruit salad? Because they knew, hey, if I eat this and this, I feel
It's your
better.
recipe, Janine. I mean,
Yeah, like it's ding, hey, if I take these things, I am better. Okay. So it's not that just because you take all good things now, all of a sudden it's wonderful. It doesn't always work that way. Sometimes you'll cancel each other out. You really have to know what it is you're
so you're
combining.
you're talking about selectivity, and that leads me to the two images that you sent me. Could you share the one on the hormones? Could you jump to that one for us? That one is the next one. Yeah, and it got a bit cut off there, but we can make it up. We can see what we got there. Good job. Yeah, let's do that.
Okay, so I just grabbed this. This is a hormone synthesis chart that I grabbed. I was looking at, I think it's abiotic acid. This is one of the acids coenzymes in the resin
Hmm.
That's primary function is to move. I don't know if you can see here at the top, cortisol to take your fats from your diet and help it to move into pregnenolone, which is your master steroid hormone. And I'm curious, here is my theory. Resin is highly anti-inflammatory. It acts like a steroid when people are ill because it can take pain away. It helps your immune system. But we found that patients who are on like prednisone, who are on a synthetic steroid and use resin at the same time can
Hmm.
get Ash or Herxheimer. I
Mm.
think it's confusing the pathway, like how it's not a good idea to take a glandular hormone and an HRT hormone same time. You're confusing your metabolism. I believe something like that is going on, and that tells me how powerful it is here and why we're getting the adrenal nourishment. This is one of the reasons why we're getting the adrenal nourishment from the resin.
Mm.
Now, in women with the menopausal symptoms, Matthew told me that, oh yeah, grandma and these clinics, a lot of women would use it for vaginal health, for not only for yeast infection because it's antifungal, but also for vaginal dryness and bladder problems and different symptoms associated with low vaginal estrogen. And there's other plant precursors that help the body convert estrogens that I found are in the resins. And this primary function here of just making precursor hormone, I've been working with women suggesting that they apply the super cocoa resin or the salve in a little oil dilution and use it vaginally
Now, is this the
for
same application when you're seeing it? I'm trying to get the concentration or the ratio here. Is it
it.
straight?
I'm still perfecting it. I'll tell people to take about 10 drops of the super cocoa resin. That's a higher concentrate,
Hmm.
and they can just use their finger and insert it.
Got it.
Um, Now,
Just straight, just no medium, just straight.
if that's too sticky, I've also had some women where you can put it into coconut oil.
Okay.
You can use like an ice cube tray or something and put it in the fridge, like maybe half a teaspoon coconut oil to 10 drops super cocoa resin, and you make these little suppositories so they're hard and you can pop that
Ah,
in.
I see. I see. Yeah,
That sometimes is easier because it's more measurable.
I see.
It's really up to you. I'm still developing this protocol, but every single one I have had resolution within 4 weeks. I mean, yes. And what's interesting is I'm seeing it all across the board, things I didn't even realize were estrogen related, like rectal itch and just skin,
Uh-huh.
dermal irritation in the perineum, um,
Okay.
frequent urination or pain on urinating, which is the vaginal wall losing its estrogen. Now it doesn't have the strength to hold the pelvic floor right. I'm seeing reversal of that. And I'm seeing that this is an alternative where if you can't tolerate HRT, like phytoestrogens or progesterone at the therapeutic levels, you can use this alongside it. And now you can have your cake and eat it too.
So let me, if I can just sort of encapsulate a little bit here. What you're talking about here is a lot what Shilajit will do is it enhances the substance that you're taking. It's like you put in a car in the fuel tank, you get a fuel booster, right?
Mhm.
That enhances the mileage. You get like 2 or 3 more miles out of the
Exactly.
and so what you're talking about is a an estrogen, um, I would say conversion. And is that your in your
Yes, yes, because what we're acting on are the metabolizers, the
right?
coenzymes that function to convert one to the other, right? So we're getting the engine as a whole to do its job a little bit more efficiently. We're giving it the juice.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay, so are we talking about those menopause? And we got a couple questions here from Lori. We're going to address in just a moment,
Okay.
but are we talking about the menopause ladies with the hot flashes, irritability,
Menopause or perimenopause. It's happening. The AMA at a conference, one of my friends was at a AMA conference in Florida. They're now saying that all women at 40 should start taking some form of HRT. I
Mhm.
was like, wow, right? And
It's
yes, it's
let's
true.
get you
Each
in
decade,
this lane.
yeah, I
Which,
mean, okay, so we know each decade prepares us for the one next. So your 40s are preparing you for your 50s and so on and so on. So yes, I'm all big. We want to look at preventative. That is our job, right? But that doesn't mean you need to go run out and start taking a ton of these hormones that your body can then get dependent on. You have all the side effects and da da dee with that. Let's look at what nature gives us. I mean, literally, this is what grandma did to stay young.
mm,
Women didn't have pharmacies of hormone pills 100 years ago. They did things like this and it worked.
mhm. Got it. All right.
And
So
I'm
yeah,
seeing it.
yeah, Lori's got some questions. Can you see them in the chat? Look in the chat for me, Janine.
Yeah.
And
Maybe I can start with the one because we're talking about hormones is can you do
Yeah.
this alone then? Like if
I
you're
would
not
start with
doing
it.
hormones? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, as as many diagnostics as you run and you look at levels and you look at what to do, the body is going to do what it's going to do. So I would definitely start as mild and low dose as possible. Just start with the natural. And if that is sufficient, there's no need to take more. Give it at least, you know, 4 to 8 weeks, like 1 or 2 months.
Mhm.
What I've seen with some women, especially more in the perimenopause, because it can be a roller coaster, is the first month might feel like things are getting a little worse. They might have a longer period or more PMS or just more symptoms. By the second month, then they're evened out. It's almost like the body has to go through this crash of,
Mhm.
oh my God, what does it feel like to be normal, to be balanced again? And then by the second month, the symptoms start to even out.
Okay.
so
And then
during,
I wasn't
go ahead, please.
I didn't know like I'm not on HRT, but some of my friends are. So if they are on HRT, they could do both at the same time, or were you saying no to that? That's not a good
Yes,
idea.
you can. I do treat people using both.
Okay.
And what I found, like, for example, instead of having to take a 2 milligram estradiol, maybe you can just take a 1 or a 0.5 because now this is filling that gap.
Yep.
You
Yep.
do not need as high a dose. We want to reduce the liver burden.
Yep. Okay.
So
Thank
so,
you.
so
Mhm.
yeah, so as I know we're talking about women here, but have you experienced any male complaints that have been addressed in regards to the hormone direction? For example, we have a culture that is grossly affected by a number of different problems that are causing the testosterone levels in men to come down.
Yeah.
Spike protein being released in our world has made a significant change. I could go into some details, but there was a one of the doctors in Germany that found that there was no sperm after an autopsy was done, discovered in the testes. There was no sperm. In no testosterone levels have dropped dramatically in our culture, and it's been replaced by spike protein. So here we are dealing with an enemy in regards to a toxic protein, and the drop in, as you probably have noticed, in so many males that they're developing female characteristics as a result of estrogen toxicity, I would call it. It's not just, the food it's in, uh, of course, that's a main source, but their hormones are changing because they're having to deal with the deficient food,
Hmm.
estrogens that are toxic, right? Their lifestyle, which is dealing with EMF frequencies, right? The electromagnetic
Hmm.
frequencies, spike protein, right? Those we're dealing with highly inflammatory protein, and and the testosterone levels are coming down. You pulled something up, so please
Well,
elaborate.
and yeah, and let me speak to that is what we're really dealing with is metabolic dysfunction. I'm seeing more and more elevated sex hormone binding globulin. Maybe they've got good total hormone on a blood test, but it's bound. The body can't access it. It's not bioavailable. And if they do access it, what I see from Sabre a lot of times is these people we can't build their levels to where they need to be because they're not able to metabolize properly. Their metabolism is so screwed up that these hormones take different branches. They don't convert properly. It's run amok, and they are way too symptomatic to tolerate. They're intolerant.
Mm-hmm.
And so going back to kind of what the resin does, this whole food is we're trying to balance that inner communication, metabolism from with the ABCs from the very beginning. And yeah, so what I'm pulling up here is pine pollen. There's parts of the pine that are widely known, used by athletes and stuff because they're highly androgenic.
Mm-hmm.
It is a testosterone booster. And like I was saying, like if it's in our hair, we're going to have it in our blood. If it's in the pollen, it's in the resin first. The resin comes out through the bark, through the branches, and then to the leaves and or to the needles and to the pollen. So it's in the resin too. We know this. We have had many male clients use resin for their needs for different things. Um, I have not actively used it yet in my protocols for testosterone boosting, but you know what? I think I will. I've definitely, like I said, I've used it for the baldness, and we have had people, I don't know the condition, what it's called, but where the penis on erection has a curve.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, there's a name for that. Anyway, we were working with a doctor on the East Coast. He had a patient and he just applied the resin every day, the super cocoa resin, and it got better.
Mm. Interesting.
It, yeah, yeah. So I know there's some sort of, it's the releasing and the proper metabolism of these androgenic hormones.
So,
Breathing
do you have a
down.
product that has the pine pollen in it?
Well, the super cocoa resin, the what I'm saying here is the property of the pollen is
Uh-huh.
this gonna be in the resin because
Oh,
resin first. Resin
oh,
first.
it's just a higher
And
concentration.
right, right. It's the
Uh,
blood of the
I see.
tree.
I see. So when pollen comes in the spring, and
Yeah.
all those that are harvesting it, they're shaking the tree. Sh-
Yes, and putting it in honey or whatever.
yeah, I saw
Uh-huh.
you do that in Missouri. I saw you had pictures
Oh
of
yeah.
it.
I gotta
Yeah.
get all my I'm the resin queen now with all this. Oh my God, the tree can do everything. And
Okay.
it literally can. There are so many properties, but I find that the resin is more on the androgen side. It's going to support estrogen and testosterone. I
Okay.
have not found research going to progesterone, except for what we were seeing here, how it does support your primary master pregnenolone, which can kind of go anywhere.
I see.
But
So
because,
I'm sorry,
mhm.
teacher question.
Yeah,
I, I I was thinking, and Lori just asked a good question about allergies. That was going to tie into my next question. But please, do you have experience with that, which you use with one of the cocoa resin for allergies, for example?
Well, yeah, and okay, so that's what's interesting is let's go back to what's known, pycnogenol. That's taken from the bark of pine.
Hmm.
In clinic, that's primarily used as an allergy treatment. And I worked with the main supplier of pycnogenol for about a year because we wanted to make products out of it at my other job in the lab. So we studied it. I looked at all that literature. And what's interesting is when we went playing with it, we wanted to make a liposomal.
Hmm.
It was never as effective. We just did not get the same results as when people just took the powder or the pill. There's something about over processing. You lose, I think, some of these properties.
Okay.
So the resin, it's purely from the tree. We store it, it's stored in glass airtight, never synthesized or treated in any way. We just mix it with a little oil so you can so it's not glued to you. You are getting the purest, most concentrated property of what that can do. It's highly anti-inflammatory. So what it's doing on the skin when you have eczema, that's basically an allergy in your skin, right? From the gut.
Mm.
And so it's immune regulating that response in the skin, the immune system of the skin. When you take it internally, I've seen it do the same thing. Especially with like seasonal allergies, whatever's going around now, you are taking in the tree's antibodies to combat this stuff going around. So yeah, I've definitely seen that. And also like applying it to the face, like to the sinus area, just a few times a day to help congestion, to help headache. Um, People have so many uses. It's like, just try it. It's your go-to fix all. Well,
And,
let
and
me
you're
try this.
and you're saying, say, for a drop or two of the cocoa resin without
Mhm.
any medium added to it,
No,
just
unless you want to.
yeah, I get it. And so what comes up with this immune, uh, I would call it a kind of adaptogenic in a way.
It is adaptogenic. Like, and I've seen plenty of times, and you've probably too. You'll go using it for one purpose, and you see a few other things start to improve, and you're like, oh, I didn't, that's a surprise. It's adapting to your weak link.
Hmm.
Any antioxidant is going to have that ability. And this is where I think it affects hormones is sex hormone binding globulin being elevated is a result of oxidative stress in the
Hmm.
body. So you want to go to antioxidants, and we all have our body has different affinities to certain ones. Well, the resin is an antioxidant. It contains a lot of different antioxidative properties. So you have to just try it and see in your particular immunotyping what it does for you.
Okay, so if I'm to suggest a routine that's maintenance, I would give a patient a 1 to 3 drops daily use.
Yeah.
And is this something that would be, and this is the cocoa resin I'm talking about for the moment. All right.
Yeah.
But the uh, use of it, we go through periods where the body needs to, I fast twice a year. I fast during the spring equinox and the fall equinox. And I 3 days, 4 days, 5 days, and I go through this
Oh.
process where I give it a break. Is it your experience that the the resin is used in a 6 to 8 week time frame, and then you break for 2 weeks, or do you do it constantly, or do you just do it 1 month and not the next month? How does that look to you?
I do suggest that people cycle it. Yes, of all because it has the detoxifying support. You don't want to stress the body, and you can kind of feel it. We muscle test in ways that we don't realize we are. If you're not drawn to it or gravitated toward taking it, follow that lead and just don't for a while. Yeah, I would say like 6 to 8 weeks, stop for 2 weeks, or
Mhm.
maybe seasonally, like during fall and spring when we've got big changes, seasonally, so your immune system stays
So
strong.
during the big changing, like I'm saying with fasting, fall
Right.
equinox, spring equinox, that's when
Yeah.
your immune system is the weakest. In Chinese
Right.
medicine, that's where we put most of our attention
So
during those
going into
transitions.
that,
Yeah.
yeah, start taking it, keep you strong. We have entire families and even children and our pets take it to stay strong because that's what
Okay.
co-infection or bouncing back infection sharing. Okay, I started it, you had it, you gave it back to me. And you do this ping pong game of sick in the house. Everybody takes it, and you can prevent a lot of headache, literally headache.
So to this point, and we're gonna sum it up here in just a moment, but there's gonna be a part two. So everybody that got to listen to this, you've been blessed by Janine's knowledge. Thank you, Janine. And with that being the case, Matthew might be joining us.
Yeah, Matthew is Tom Bombadil, by the way. He is a tree. He's become a tree.
Yeah, and
He
boy,
birds come out of his beard.
he does, and kudos to him. But in any case, I would like to ask the group to send me questions so
Yeah.
I can forward them over to Janine. There is there's a discount. Acutone Dean will give you 10% off of the orders. You can go to the website that's in the link, and I'll, of course, include
Mhm.
it in the recording. And then what I would like to focus on, I'll add some questions from the group and myself. You can switch back to me for the presenter. But in any case, what I'll be offering is I've got these. Janine did a very wonderful thing for me. I've got these here, okay, and I am going to be between here and now, right? I am going to be upping the ante. I'm going to be using this and giving a report back on what my results are, okay, and the changes that I've experienced. Now I'm a healthy guy, and it's um, it's easy for me to uh, like pick out if something isn't good for me. I'll be sensitive to it. Say I shouldn't be doing that, or if something is, I'll be sensitive to it. So this is I'm in my 60s and I've been you know toying with different diets and so forth. So with this, I am going to, and we're in December right now. This is December 9, and the weather, we're getting less and less sunshine. But it's my opinion that during this, routine, we all have to have a wholesome discipline. Whether you're a walker, I'm a swimmer personally, uh, but
Yeah.
but the sunshine involved. I'm going to use because what happens is that I've been using uh, to keep a sort of a damper on the overexposure to UVB, which has been a real
Oh,
problem. In that we have, when I was a kid, it was only like 6 or 7 or whatever percent. It's very low UVB. Now it's 40 something or even 50%. And that UVB that's coming through is burning your skin more quickly. Okay. And there's even more UVC, which is coming in rather than the UVA. A is the weakest, okay? But UVC coming in, that's where it alters cells. Um, it's been,
that
that's the
more
cancer.
antioxidant like
Yeah,
that. Yeah.
yeah. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm swimming. I'm going to be putting on the cocoa resin on my
Yeah.
face as a kind of sunproof. I don't know if this is going to work, but I've done it with the SPF 35 from Eileen Durfee, okay, which she's got a product that comes from tallow and kidney tallow, and
Oh,
uh,
wow.
and it works very well. I've been using it for years, but I'm gonna try doing it with the cocoa resin if
Yeah.
that's what
Put
you would
after.
expect.
Yeah, put it on at well, I have to send you some of the salve. The salve is more of a waterproofing barrier. Like we have it for like the nail fungus, just slather it on. So if you want something in the water, I'll send you the salve and put it on your face. But then the cocoa, I mean, you could do right now, do it after to protect from any damage that may be started. It
Oh,
will
I
stop.
see.
Yeah, I mean, and that's another thing. The resin has been used by so many people on skin cancers.
I got it.
Check out our Instagram and Facebook. I try to share stories, has a ton of this stuff. Just look
Instagram and
at
Facebook. Okay,
Fruit
I'll look at that.
Resin. I'll send you the link.
Yeah, thank you for both. And then what we'll do in part two is I'll give you my feedback, of course. I'll give you the
Sure.
more questions, and we'll get Matthew involved with his burly nature, and we'll see we'll see what more we can add on to this. So it's been a great discussion. Thank you,
Yeah,
Janine. You're
fun.
awesome. I really
Thank you.
enjoy it.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to sign off for now, and until next time, we will just say adieu, and in health, I am here for you. So take care.
Thank you.